Nigangada, Nilabaranu, Nigadunu, Minh Yamanyambul, Nigam Diagiran. This sentence in the Wiradjuri language was written in 1839 when the Reverend James Gunther compiled a Wiradjuri English dictionary, much of it copied from the Reverend William Watson's notes. The purpose of the dictionary was to teach other missionaries the Wiradjuri language in order to convert the natives to Christianity. After the standard sections on nouns and verbs and other grammar, there's a section of useful sentences. Nagangada, Nilabaranu, Nagadanu, Minyamanyambul, Nagam Diagiran. The English translation of this sentence is, "Give me that child, and I will give you plenty to eat." Watson, an Englishman in his early 30s, and Hand, a German Lutheran several years older, both employed by the Anglican Missionary Society, arrived in the Wellington Valley on the 3rd of October, 1832. The journey, which takes me 5.5 hours, with a quick break for coffee and Bathurst, took them 45 days. At least once they arrived in the Wellington Valley, there was shelter, the huts left by the soldiers and convicts. From their journals, it's evident the missionaries were idealistic personalities, the steel of their religion framing and determining all their responses. To them, the Wiradjuri were not a people to be subdued, but souls to be saved. They had more direct daily interactions with the Wiradjuri than most other whites at the time, and recorded what they saw in their diaries each day. Theirs are the only records of individual names and personalities of Wiradjuri men and women from the early years of settlement. People and movements and conversations saved from forgetfulness. 1st of January, 1834. A man came over from Gabolan to say that 7 armed bushrangers had robbed a hut at a short distance and had intimated their intention of coming to Wellington. We have indeed more danger to apprehend from such characters than from untutored natives around us. 4th of July, 1834. One of the native boys observed, "I believe all children go to heaven." I said, "They are not baptised." He then remarked, "What for all Piccaninny go to fire? No good that." 2nd of February, 1835. 41 natives here this morning. 22 of them came to breakfast. I had last night prepared some boiled wheat and beef, so when they came up, I was ready to distribute the same to them. I embraced the opportunity this afforded of addressing them. The Lord grant it may be for the good. Most of them immediately left the establishment. "26th of September, 1835. King Bungari, one of our native boys, was sitting in the garden resting himself today. Seeing him busily employed, I went up to him and found that, having moistened some clay, he had made a very striking image of a child, or a woman in miniature, calling it a lolly, a doll. It was well proportioned, and its large bonnet with knots of ribbons on it looked very well. He afterwards made a gig and horse with all the things necessary for drawing and placed his lolly in the gig. When it shall please the Lord to convert these native by his Holy Spirit, they will develop intellectual powers far beyond what many at present are willing to acknowledge them possessed of." October the 6th, 1835. They always say our speaking to them, respecting their evil conduct, is being angry. Many times when I have been endeavouring to show them the danger of a sinful course, they have said, "Speak good. Speak good. Don't speak that way." 17th of October, 1835. Had some conversation with the natives here this evening. As usual, Karvan was the chief speaker. He said that when he sees a shooting star, it is the departing spirit of some native. Others say it is an omen of the death of some native, that the soul also makes a buzzing noise when it first leaves the body. He said many curious and superstitious things, which nothing but a knowledge of the gospel will eradicate. Gungan is sadly out of order tonight. I remarked that he was running about all day, not doing anything for us, nor under any instruction. He replied in a very fiery manner, "What do you want here? What do you come here for? Why do you not go to your own country?" December 19th, 1835. I remarked that the Great Spirit, whom we name God, was the maker of all things. He inquired, "What God?" I believe white man made the Bible and then put down God in it. Obiami is a great doctor. Parson is no doctor. 19th of June, 1836. Karvan refused to have his jacket this morning, a good new blue one, for which I lately paid 16 shillings in Bathurst. He says that it looks too much like New Chum, which is a name given to newly arrived assigned servants. 1837, August the 9th, from the diary of Reverend James Gunther. In catechising the children today, I was much pleased and surprised at the progress they have made, not only in reading the English, but also spiritual, scriptural knowledge. Some of them would put many European children to shame. However degraded they may be, they afford at least a decisive proof that they are quite as capable of cultivation of the mind as other nations. 1839, May the 25th. I was much amused and struck with some observations of Cochrane's today. A certain individual, whose vanity and self-conceit attract the notice of most persons, passed by with so much consequence that our poor native heathen youth could not forbear expressing his disgust, and observed, "That fellow, very proud. Nobody so proud as that man. He think he magistrate," etc., etc., adding, very significantly, "I believe that fellow not know his heart." This evidently shows that Cochrane is aware of the close connection of self-knowledge and humility. 25th of December, 1840. This was a poor Christmas day indeed. How distressing and discouraging. Nobody at church but our 2 white men and about half a dozen blacks. Our Aboriginal youths were in a very bad, careless mood, determined to run away to the camp immediately after service, and laughed at all my warnings and exhortations. When I spoke of leaving them, Bungari replied, "Well, you may. We know enough now." This is, in a great measure, the fruit of all that has passed on this mission, so disgraceful to the good cause. They know to take advantage of it. When I warned Bungari against having anything to do with a certain worthless, treacherous Aborigine, he replied, "We are not like missionaries. We love one another." What one's feeling must be under such circumstances, our friends may imagine. 1832, 24th of November, from the diary of brother Johann Hunt. Asked some black women this evening who were sitting around the fire where their children were, but they replied, "Why I asked for their children." I told them, however, that we desired to instruct their children and to make them like ourselves, after which they replied that they had no children. 1838, July the 31st, from the diary of William Porter. They are a great deal more inclined to read than to work, being naturally the most indolent people in the world.